Okay, how are we doing here? Are we live yet? Let me check. I'll try and see. Is anybody here? Can you hear me? Excuse me. If you are watching and you can hear my voice, please let me know. I would very much like to hear from you. It's 4 p.m. We're going live. Brick is here. Thank you, Brick. So, looks like we are good. Good to go. Kate's here. Brick and Kate. Marco is watching. Alrighty then. Well, thank you for joining me today. Manuel is present. We have some great questions to get into already, thanks to those of you who have submitted questions already. I'm going to try and find those. And let's see here. Let me duplicate this layer in Photoshop. 4 p.m. here, cloudy, windy. Feels like it hasn't stopped raining in Manchester for about a week. So I hope it's nicer where you are. But I'm not complaining. I'm just telling. I'm just saying. And let's see if I can find these questions here. Thank you guys for letting me know that you're here. Just going to give this a refresh so I can see everyone. Oh, whoa. Loads of people here. Lonnie, Yassar, Nadine, Gordon, Sheila is here, and Zol. Thank you guys for joining me today. We got some great questions, so I'm going to dive right into them. I don't think there's any reason to delay. So I'm going to try and go in chronological order. And if you're watching the replay, let me just give a brief introduction. So this is a weekly Facebook Live Ask Me Anything. And I'm doing this in my private Facebook group to help us all, to help the members of the group and to share ideas. Excuse me one second, I just have someone banging on my door. I'll be right back. I'm back. Sorry about that. The delivery guys don't care if you're on a live stream or not. And that was a new pair of trainers, I think, so I had to catch it. Thank you guys for bearing with me there. So we have a question here from Mark. Sorry, what was I talking about? I was giving an introduction, wasn't I? So yeah, we're here to I'm here to answer your questions today, and we do this every Wednesday. It's been a weekly thing for the past 5 weeks now. I think this is our 6th, and Gordon says it's the bailiffs. Thankfully, not this time, Gordon. Hi, Maria. How are you doing? So yeah, we're doing this for the past 4 or 5 weeks. I think this is the 6th, and just as a way to help people answer some of your questions, because there's so much that that we can talk about in print on demand and merch by Amazon, and it's hard to do it via email and stuff. So this is a great way to smash through some questions and help it. Well, we kind of help each other. You know, nobody knows everything, and it's a great way to do this. So if you're watching the replay, you can ask questions live if you're in the group. This happens weekly. on a Wednesday at 4 p.m. UK time. I'm not sure what that time is for you, but 4 p.m. UK time for me. And I am going to copy and paste the questions, and I'm going to attempt to answer them here. So, this first question today, Wednesday, 2nd of August, 2017. And Mark has asked a few questions, and this is his first one. So, here we go. Is everybody ready? I will read out this question. I'm just tired from running up and down the stairs there. Read trademarks. What is your approach regarding live, registered, standard character text marks? Are they to be avoided in all brand names, titles, and descriptions? Mark, this is a fantastic question, and I know you've got a few related questions on the back of it. I have a very, I wouldn't say very, but I have quite a different approach to what I see going on in a lot of the merch groups and the way a lot of people seem to approach this problem. Let me tell you what I do. I simply do not check trademarks. I do not search trademarks. I do not look up the USPTO, whatever the website's called. It is very rare that I would check those before I create a design. So the reason why is that the designs I create, I already know that they are not going to be violating a trademark. Now you can say, how can you know that? You know, some of these marks are really generic and stuff like that. Well, the reason I know that is because, let me do a sketch here so I can show you what I mean. So there seems to be this idea with merch that you come up with a t-shirt design idea and you create the design, and when you upload it, Amazon is going to look at this and they're going to check the design and they're going to check the text that you have, and that they are going to perhaps check this against the trademark office, or that they have some kind of list of designs, some kind of list or information that they're running this up against. So that, for example, if there was a trademark in existence for the word "it's," that Amazon, and you had a design that used the word, or the phrase, whatever, "it's" in your design, that Amazon would reject your design because of this existing trademark. Now, as I don't know exactly what goes on with Amazon behind the scenes, but I don't think this is happening at all. And I think that people are being very overly cautious about the designs they create and imagining that the phrases and the words used could get you into trouble, when in fact the purpose of a trademark is to stop people from inadvertently purchasing a design or a product from a competitor. So it's basically, if someone owns the trademark for Nike, which obviously they do, they have a trademark, and the purpose of the trademark is to prevent me from just producing a Nike design and saying, here's a Nike t-shirt, and making money off that. Obviously, I can't do that because Nike has the trademark, and they can go to Amazon and say, hey, we've got the trademark. This guy can't sell this stuff. He can't use the word Nike. And of course, you cannot. Now, if you think about how that translates to the kind of t-shirts we're creating, so funny phrases and slogans and that kind of thing, if someone had, for example, trademarked the word "it's," and so the implication we would think then would be that every design that contained the word "it's" would be at risk or would be blocked by Amazon. Now, first of all, Amazon aren't checking it against the trademark thing in the first place, but second of all, it really doesn't apply, because if you have a phrase that says it's a me Mario or something like that. Terrible example because Mario is obviously a trademarked property. But imagine it wasn't, for the sake of this thing. Let's say you have a funny phrase, and the funny phrase is "It's-a-me Mario," and someone owns the trademark to the word "it's." Now, there's no relation there between those two, because it's got to be a similar case to what happens with Nike. It's got to be that you are a brand, you are a trademarked company, and someone else is using your phrase to intentionally mislead a customer into buying your product instead of the original, genuine product. And obviously that's not the case with a lot of this stuff. So when it comes to slogans, when it comes to words and phrases, now the caveat here is, because I can see the objections appearing already, you can of course trademark a phrase. You could trademark the phrase, what's a good example? Basket of deplorables. You could trademark that phrase, and then if the phrase existed in full, then you could not use that on a t-shirt. That is correct. But when it comes to these partial things, like these words, even like a couple of words strung together, I don't think it's an issue. I think people are being overly cautious. Now, there's another issue here to talk about. There is obviously, we know obviously, you can't create a Star Wars t-shirt. You can't create a Disney t-shirt or a Mickey Mouse t-shirt, because those are properties that are obviously very policed, and obviously those are things that Amazon themselves, it's going to be obvious to them. When you upload it, obviously there is a degree of checking that's going on, and Amazon is obviously going to look at a Mickey Mouse t-shirt, see that you are not Disney, and reject it. So, that should go without saying. You need to understand the basics of copyright and intellectual property. And if you don't, I have a couple of articles about that on my blog. So if you just search for copyright on michaelessick.com, you'll find there's two main, those first two that come up are relevant, and you should have a look at those if you don't understand these basic kind of stuff. Now, on the other hand, there are people with trademarks and phrases, and I'm trying to think of an example here, but basically what I'm trying to say is that not everything that is trademarked, even if it is trademarked, if it's trademarked, it doesn't mean you can't use it. And also, if no trademark exists, that doesn't mean you can use it, because you might still be playing off some intellectual property of someone else. So for those two reasons, I would say people are a little bit too cautious. And let me just describe my process. So the reason I don't check trademarks is because I do something like this. I have an idea. Say I just have an idea for a t-shirt. So usually for me, it's going to be like a funny phrase or a slogan. It could be topical, could be news, it could be something else, could be just a funny phrase. So I have an idea, and then I turn it into a design, and then I list it, and I use generic terms when I list it that I know are not going to be protected. So if it's a design about a potato, then I'm going to use potato and chips and stuff like that, and I'm not going to say McDonald's or any kind of trademarked phrase. I'm just not going to use it. And for that reason, I don't feel the need 9 times out of 10 to check any phrase that I come up with, because usually they're original phrases that have come from my head, and I don't think there's any likelihood of me being chased down for that. So the only cases where you need to be careful are, I would say it's phrases that. Here's the thing: if you create a design and it gets approved and listed by Amazon, of course you still have the danger that someone could register a trademark for the phrase you used and then come and have your design taken down. Now, is Amazon going to punish you especially in that case? I don't think so, because if you can say, look, I created it before the trademark was registered or that kind of thing, at the worst, your design gets taken down, and that's it, because, you can prove that you're not trying to intentionally hijack the trademark of someone else. You've done it unintentionally. And so for that reason, I think people don't need to worry about that. I mean, obviously you get maybe a strike on your account, but you're going to have a lot of those before it could put your Merch by Amazon account in danger. So I don't know if I've really explained myself well there, but that's my basic process. So let me return to the original question. So my approach regarding live registered standard character text marks is that I don't even look at them in the first place. But are they to be avoided in all brand names, titles, descriptions? No, not in all cases. Certainly not. Unless you find an exact phrase copy. So if it's a partial part of a phrase, I wouldn't worry about it. If it's the exact phrase, then yes, I would worry about it. And if it's, I'm trying to think of another example here. If it's something that you know, so for example, let's go outside of the realms of merch and let's think about Redbubble and TeePublic and stuff, where a lot of designs are potentially intellectual property infringing. So it's some kind of mashup design or something where you take some kind of Star Wars element or something Disney or something, and you mash it up with something else, you create something else. Now, you can get away with this a lot more on Redbubble and TeePublic than you can with Merch by Amazon. But that doesn't mean you should. And I would, like with Star Wars, Disney, anything that is a huge high-profile property like that, you're going to want to stay away from. But if you're talking about some obscure movie from 1960s that scarcely anyone knows about, but you find it funny and a few of your friends do, and you create a t-shirt based off the back of it, like technically, legally, okay, it's not cool, but is it going to get you in trouble? Probably not, because if it's a movie from the 1960s and there's not really an existing merchandise industry around it, then you're probably going to be okay. And of course, this is not legal advice. Don't take this, as endorsement of doing this. But you're probably going to be able to get it, and you might make sales and stuff. And I've had designs like that, and still do, and they're based on stuff that's not heavily policed. But here's why I don't recommend you do that. It's because you're always looking over your shoulder, and any time, the true intellectual property holder, whoever they might be, could wake up, could discover that, oh, hey, someone's making a lot of money, or maybe not a lot, but some money off a property we have the rights to, and they can come and get your design taken down. And that's probably the worst case scenario. But do you want to create designs that have the potential to be taken down in the first place? I don't. I want to create designs that are going to have legs for the future and long into the future. So for that reason, I don't recommend that you create designs based off the intellectual property of anyone else. And as far as checking trademarks and text marks and all that kind of stuff, only insofar as you think that there is a chance that there is someone out there who is going to come after you for that phrase. So, for example, I believe I saw someone recently say that they had some designs that said, stay woke, and that they had these designs taken down because somebody did have a registered trademark for that phrase. Now, I didn't know that was a trademarked phrase, so this is, again, one way you enter into it inadvertently. You don't intend to violate someone's trademark, but you didn't check it. Now, could it be a problem for your account? It could be in merch if you do that, too often, if you happen to do that too often, because merch are going to say, well, you've had a lot of trademark strikes, you've only got 25 designs up, and 20 of them have been taken down for trademark violations, so obviously that's a problem. That means we probably need to kick you off. But if this is just one design of 100 or 200 or whatever, I don't think it's going to matter, and I don't think you should worry about that. Now, this is again a reason why you should create lots of designs, because lots of designs is protection against the odd design that slips through that gets taken down in the future. And that's probably going to happen if you're creating enough designs. And, of course, you can check it against the trademark. There might not be a trademark there now, but in 2 weeks' time or 2 months' time, there could be. And for that reason, there's no foolproof way of always being in the clear on trademarks. So that's my approach. And I know there's some of the, I'm just looking through the comments now. Some have been taken down recently for using the phrase "don't quit." So obviously that's a case where there's someone who's pursuing this and taking them down. So this is the other thing that I think I was trying to get to before I didn't really explain clearly. People seem to think that Amazon is performing the role of policeman in this situation. Amazon is only acting, so they're only taking down a t-shirt that says "never quit" or "don't quit" because someone has come to Amazon and said, "Hey, take down that t-shirt. I have the trademark." So for that reason, it's good to think about, who is this person? Do they exist? Are they likely to exist in the future? And put yourself in their shoes, because it's not Amazon who you're going to have a problem with at the inception. It's this person. So your design can get through Amazon, of course. Now, some of the examples that people are saying in the comments now, they had "never quit" or "don't quit" removed. Obviously, Amazon approved it in the first place, so it's not getting it onto Amazon in the first place that's the problem. It's someone then reporting your design to Amazon, and that's where I think you should spend some time thinking. Now, of course, "don't quit" is a ridiculous thing. You could never imagine that someone would be able to register a trademark for that. But Amazon are being especially careful, and I think anything that gets reported to Amazon, especially if there's an official registered trademark involved, Amazon are just taking it down. They're not giving a chance. They don't want to let anything damage their reputation. So, we're all in the same boat. We're all creating designs that could, in theory, be the subject of future takedowns. And we just have to, do the best we can to get around it, and not get around it, but create as many original designs, create as many designs as you can, because that's going to afford you a level of protection that you otherwise would not get. So, phew, that was question 1. So I think I kind of answered Mark's second question here as well. I'm just having a quick read over it while I have a drink as well. So let me paste this one. Second question from Mark here. Read trademarks. I see a lot of partials accepted as trademarks, e.g. "its." With that in mind, would you A, avoid using "its" as part of any t-shirt design? Or would you do the t-shirt and just avoid using that text in the description? Or would you use "its" as per normal and leave Amazon to check for abuse? Yeah, I would go with C. I don't think Amazon is actively cracking down on things. I think they are, as just said, they are only acting in response to other takedowns and, copyright reports that they receive from other people. So I am not. I would leave it in the hands of Amazon, and Dixon's just said, "In merch, Amazon is the seller, not us." That's a really good point, and it's an important thing to remember, because Amazon is the one who's sharing who's the seller of note, and they don't want to be in any trouble. So if you can think, put yourself in the shoes of Amazon and put yourself in the shoes of potential future trademark owners, that's why you wouldn't want to do this. It's why you might, if you want to create a design based off a celebrity or something, maybe there's a phrase or some kind of thing going around that's attached to a celebrity. Now, okay, there's no trademark, so you should be okay in theory, technically. But if that thing blows up, the person who's going to be able to register the trademark is going to be the celebrity. And then they're going to have the right to come and get things taken down. And now you might think that's a risk you're willing to take, but I would prefer to create truly original designs, not based off the back of a celebrity, and to profit that way. And of course, we're all at different stages, and there might be a reason to do that. And the lines are blurry, but I'm just saying, for long-term success, you want to be an original brand, creating original work that isn't likely to be subject to future takedown issues. So, how'd I do? Does that answer that question? Thank you, Mark, for those. Let me work my way down here. So, Zol has a big, long question for us. Regarding title and keywords, mainly Redbubble. Do you recommend to use the exact same title and keywords for different designs on the same platform? Examples: one design for light, one for dark teas, or different designs that cover the same topic. I am afraid that it might mess up Google search results, but at the same time, I don't want to amend the most descriptive title or keywords either. Good questions, all. So, do you recommend to use the exact same title and keywords for different designs? Not the exact same title and keywords, no. I would like to vary it to some degree, not least because it will make it easier for you to identify which one has sold and those kind of things. I suppose if you're selling them at different price points, then you have that in that regard. But yes, if you're going to use the exact same design, I would at least vary it somehow, because you just don't know really what collection of keywords and order of keywords and phrases might impact on Amazon and might just give you an extra boost somehow. So yeah, vary the key. You can use the same keywords, but you might put them in a different order or something like that. You might do something like do a cheap, the anvil for a cheap design, and then do a more expensive one on the more expensive option. And in terms of different designs that cover the same topic, yeah, I don't think there's no real downside to doing that. The only downside is that it's taking time to list, multiple versions of the same design. And if you have a design that is simply a dead duck, then you're spending a lot of time simply punching the air. You're not really getting anywhere. You're just doing a lot of action for probably not a lot of return. But especially when it comes to things like trends, trending topics, and viral stuff, anything like that is likely to be popular, and you're trying to get ahead of the crowd, then creating one design is risky, and creating multiple ones is more likely to get you some sales. And of course, once you get a sale or two in a popular trending niche, it's going to be a lot easier to kind of establish yourself there, because you're going to rise up the rankings. And so you just want to throw as much at it as you can. Now, how much, should you create 3 designs or 30, kind of depends on your approach. Now, I think Amazon is not going to like it if you take the same design and simply list it 30 times, varying the keywords slightly. So I would want to create different designs, and you've already given some examples of how you can do that. You could create one design for dark shirts and one design for light shirts, and you could do a cheaper version and a more expensive version. And of course, you can create different designs around the same topic or the same phrase in different fonts or something like that. So there's lots of ways you can do that. As far as it messing up Google search results and that kind of thing, again, it depends on your purpose. So for trends and that kind of thing, I wouldn't worry about that. I think you want to, if you're convinced that something's going to blow up and something's going to be hot, then you want to get as many designs, as many relevant, valid designs as you can up there and take it from there. And you're going to obviously want to watch what happens and keep an eye on the trends and see how your rankings are doing and maybe change prices and that kind of stuff as things go. But I don't think you need to worry about Google search results at that point, because I would be thinking exclusively in terms of merch and trying to get on a trend. Now, I just realized that you said mainly Redbubble at the top. So let me address the same question in relation to Redbubble. As far as Google search results go with Redbubble, I think that title and keywords certainly are very important. Probably again, like if you're trying to go for like a trend or something, then you probably want to have as many bites at the apple as you can possibly get, and creating many designs is one way of doing that. Is it going to dilute the search results? I don't think so. But see, the thing that's bothering me here is, you know, if Redbubble has hundreds of designs around a topic, what they tend to do, especially when it comes to search results, is instead of it being a Redbubble listing to one design, it's going to be, so for example, if you go to Google and you search and you search for basket of deplorables t-shirt, then you're unlikely to get a result that takes you straight to a single design on Redbubble. You're much more likely to get a result that takes you to Redbubble's search page, which is effectively a big list of all the designs that include those keywords and that kind of thing. So in that case, you're not really trying to rank on Google, you're trying to rank on Redbubble and then pick up the traffic that's going to come via Google to Redbubble. And in that case, I have found that with Redbubble, what works really well is using the exact search result as the title. So rather than having basket of deplorables t-shirt, you would just have basket of deplorables. And that would usually help you rank. So without any keywords, without any padding or any filler in the title, that would be a whole title. And that tends to, in my experience, help you reach the top of the Redbubble rankings there. So that would be how it works with Redbubble. So I hope that helps, Zol. I'm just going to take a look at the other questions we have here. Oh, where am I? Can't find my questions now. My tablet's running out of batteries. So, oh, I've found it. Here we go, I think. I will get to your live questions once I've got through a few more of these pre-made questions. I'll try and answer these a bit more succinctly instead of waffling on. Okay, Latasha asks, based on a few of your articles and recent calls, I've been thinking a lot about building out my own niche-branded Shopify custom cat site. I would like to hear more about your Shopify and custom cat experience. For example, how did you decide to drive traffic? And did you connect your custom cat products to Amazon? If so, then did you have to do any brand registry? Let me answer the first question. How did you decide to drive traffic? So I think I did an article about this. Let me just pull it up in case you haven't found it. I think I did one. Here we go. Selling t-shirts on Instagram. So I'll just pop this link in the comments. So that is relevant as far as how I drive traffic to my Shopify store. So I have exclusively used Instagram. I've tried Facebook ads a little bit, still haven't quite cracked it. So Instagram is still kind of the sole way that I have driven traffic to my Shopify store. So reaching out to influencers and driving traffic to my Instagram account, and from there back to my Shopify store. That's the only way I've done it so far. I have tried Facebook ads, but you can read all about this and the kind of overall strategy in this article on my blog. Let me answer your next question down. Did you connect your Custom Cat products to Amazon? No, not directly as such. So I did hook it up through my Shopify store to Amazon, but I only have about 14 products that are live on Amazon right now. I don't make really any sales with them, and I was doing that as kind of an experiment towards the start of this year when Shopify first launched that, and I wrote 2 articles about that and all the kinds of ups and downs. And the main reason I'm not pursuing that right now is to do with brand. So it's because of the danger of hijackers and the fact that anyone can effectively come and sell your designs without your say so. So that's the reason I don't hook up with Amazon to my Shopify and do it that way. So I mean, I've heard people say that brand registry can help with that, but as far as I know, there still isn't a way to consistently get complete brand protection for people like us on Amazon. And you have to deal with hijackers. You can get them taken down, you can report them and that kind of thing. It's just more work than I'm inclined to look for right now. It's just not my just not where my focus should be. So that's why I don't do that. What were your top 1 to 3 challenges when using Custom Cat? I wouldn't say I've had many challenges with Custom Cat. There's a few little quirks with Custom Cat. It kind of just takes a few goes to get set up and get working okay with it. But really, it works quite smooth. Everything works okay. You would have to watch out for the first order of any design tends to take quite a lot longer than you might first expect. So I think Custom Cat says 2 to 3 days turnaround. That does seem to be the case once a design is sold in the first place. But that first design, they have to do some kind of mapping of the design or something, and it ends up taking more like 4 or 5 days to get the first product out. But once that design has been produced, after that fact, it does seem to be the case that Custom Cat has quite good turnaround times. So, advice for someone starting out on that platform? Just think about the marketing, which is the only thing that matters. Custom Cat and everything else, there's not just Custom Cat, there's a number of different companies you can use, as per my most recent blog post. And so my advice would be, don't obsess about the process of getting the t-shirt to the customer. Instead, obsess about how you're going to get the sale in the first place, which is a lot harder because you're doing this, you're having to drive all the traffic yourself. So if you think about the sales, if this is sales and marketing, so obviously marketing is what is going to drive the sales. And once you get a sale, what I would do is think about the fulfillment or the production, the actual shipping of the shirt to the customer. Draw a great big line in your head between the two, and just, say you need to think about marketing and sales completely separately from thinking about the production, because this side is really easy. And I know we tend to obsess about the details, like, the quirks in the system, like how do I do this, or how do I upload a design to the back, or what product should I sell on? All that stuff is really, really, that's like the 20%, and this is the 80% in terms of like where your focus should be and what you should be thinking about. You should be learning about marketing and sales, and you should not be panicking at all about the production side, because that can be taken care of really quite easily. So yeah, that would be my advice. Focus on the marketing, focus on how you're going to drive sales in the first place, whether it's through Instagram, whether it's through Facebook ads. Are you going to learn Facebook ads and that kind of thing? Are you going to hire someone to do it for you? Those are the things you want to be researching and learning and educating yourself about. So I hope that helps, Latasha. And Mark has a couple of questions here. Oops, that I'm going to race through. 41 minutes gone already. Mark says, I see there are a couple of paid analytics tools for MBA to help find what is popular on Amazon. Is there anything out there for Redbubble? No, Mark, not as I know, not as far as I know. But if you go to Redbubble and... Oops, Redbubble. If you go to Redbubble and go to men's t-shirts, scroll down to the bottom, you'll find a link that says... Oh, where's it gone? They just got rid of it. Or you can sort men's t-shirts by trending. So that would be one way to see what's popular. And this does tend to be quite accurate in my experience. So the designs that would be at the top here are going to be selling quite a lot. And I've had designs, on this page from time to time, and it certainly does seem to be an accurate reflection of a roughly accurate reflection of what's selling on Redbubble. So that would be one way for you to check out what's selling on Redbubble. Have you found, this is another question from Mark, have you found much correlation between what sells well on one platform tends to sell well on another? I only sell on Redbubble and wondered if it was worthwhile putting all my designs on another platform or only the ones that have sold so far. Mark, my approach is get everything up everywhere you can, as far as it makes sense to do so. So in my experience, there's a correlation between Redbubble, TeePublic, Designed by Humans, and Society6 are all quite similar platforms in that they appeal to a similar demographic. So if you have funny designs or trending topics and that kind of thing, for the kids, cool kids out there, the kids that wear caps and sunglasses, those are the kind of people who tend to be on these sites. And my approach is to get everything up everywhere. Now, if you have different niches, maybe your niche isn't that kind of thing, and you find that it doesn't sell well on Redbubble, then obviously you want to look elsewhere. But in my experience, those are the ones that work for me. But I can't speak to many other niches apart from the kind of funny pop culture type of niche. Marco says, I started selling on Etsy and getting some sales. Do you stick to only one niche, like dogs, camping, or post all your niches mixed in the Etsy listing? What would be the good thing to go? Now I have mixed listings. Marco, that's a great question, and it's one that I struggle with and continue to struggle with, because it is hard to know where you should draw the line between, are you just a general t-shirt store or are you a niche specific t-shirt store? There's benefits to both, and there's negatives to both. And I think if you're looking to build a brand, then it's hard to build a brand around, lots of different niches. It's hard to build a brand around, here's a dog t-shirt, here's a camping t-shirt, here's a this t-shirt, here's a that t-shirt. It's much easier to do designs based around the same, all dog t-shirts, for example. And because that is much more likely to have customer retention. Customers are going to look at that and go, oh, let me see what else they sell. Oh, they sell similar designs. This is great. I'm going to follow them. I'm going to see where their Twitter is. I'm going to look them up on Facebook. I'm going to sign up for email to get discounts because I'm into dogs and all their designs are about dogs. And that's not likely to happen if you have one dog design amongst hundreds of different niches. So that's the kind of, pros and cons. The downside, of course, is that if you go the niche route, you might have ideas that don't work for that niche. And so I would recommend looking at the possibility of having one store that you kind of put all your random stuff in, and then one that's niche specific, and maybe pick the niche that's doing best for you, and kind of try it that way. So I hope that helps, Marco. Okay, I'm nearly up to date here with questions. I'll be getting to yours shortly, hopefully. Just give a refresh here. Suggestions on how to price on merch. Some people say price low, like $12.99 to get a few sales, then gradually raise. Others say price high, over 20. Average seems to be around $17.99. What strategy has worked for you? All strategies have worked for me for different purposes. So, for example, there are situations where you would want to start low because it's high competition. And there are situations where going low is simply a stupid thing to do because there's no competition. So if anyone was searching for it, they would see your design. You're the only design. They're probably going to be happy to pay $24 for it because you're the only one there. So it depends on the situation, depends on what kind of niche or design you were attacking. And that would, I think, that shapes the pricing strategy that you want to go for. Now, by default, I'm doing the $20 mark, $19.99, but I'd say I'm not really happy with kind of my approach right now. I think I need to do much more of a researched approach and really go line by line through my designs and price more relevantly, because I think I could be leaving some money on the table, and I think I have some designs that are probably priced too high, which would sell if I lowered them. And so it depends on the niche, depends on the design. You just need to do your research and find what works in those markets, and spend a lot of time, doing some research before you actually price them. Take a look at what's selling in that niche. Rob asks, as someone with no design experience, I'm wondering if it's worth me spending the time to have an okay level of Photoshop skill for merch shirts. I currently do basic text ones and pay designers for the rest. I'm wondering if paying a designer to make a few templates that I can scale into 10 different t-shirts might be a good idea for the higher tiers. Yeah, it's not a bad idea, Rob. I think that could work. Is it worth you spending time to become a Photoshop expert? Probably not. Is it worth you spending a little bit of time to be competent with Photoshop? Yes. And if text designs are working for you right now, then great. You don't really need to go much more advanced than that. So I guess it depends on what's your long-term plan, and do you want to go and create truly original designs that will work on multiple platforms, or do you want to focus on doing volume and lots of text-only designs, which can work within merch, but maybe won't work elsewhere? So it's those kind of considerations, I think, Rob, that you want to be thinking about. A template can work great, and obviously there's a lot of people that do great with templates and simply boilerplating and replacing one word here or there. So that can work. So yeah, having a few of those, and then, but of course your strategy then is just going to be volume, throw a load at it and see what sticks, which is fine, but it does tend to limit you to certain types of designs and certain types of niches. It doesn't allow you to, for example, if there was some trending topic that just came up, it's unlikely that you would have a template that might work brilliantly for that trending topic or whatever, especially if it's something that's going to help. If you have like an illustrator or a designer who can create an original design, and I'm talking here like about artwork rather than just a text-based design, that gives you, an extra kind of, what's the word, like an arrow in your sheath or a card up your sleeve, something. It gives you an extra option really to exploit things there. So yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with having a decent, competent Photoshop ability, but also know where your strengths are. And if your strengths are coming up with ideas and slogans and not in the design side, then let someone else handle that for you. There's no shame in that. and it can be a much more efficient way to get to market and to start making sales. Okay, Rob also asks, he's in the 100 tier, hoping to get in the 500 tier soon. Also uploading best-selling designs to Redbubble and creating a Shopify. Is this a reasonable plan for quarter 4? Anything big I'm missing or any tips? No, I think, quarter 4, my strategy is make sure every design is up on every possible platform. So I'm paying, a couple of VAs to upload everything to everywhere. And there's quite a lot of stuff to get through on that side. So I'm my plan is to hit October and make sure all my designs are up everywhere that they can be. I think Shopify in quarter 4 is going to be, you're going to be, obviously quarter 4 is where everyone is hitting their customers and doing their marketing, and obviously the marketing spend goes up. So I think, I don't know, quarter 4 could be a time to, if you want to compete, I think you're going to have to really do a lot of extra work in quarter 4. And if you're not really ready for that, then quarter 4 might be the time to just step back from doing the Shopify stuff, or just continue it but at a low level, but don't really expect much from it. Because I think quarter 4 is where a lot of the big guys, they spend a lot of marketing cash, and it might just be hard to get in front of your potential customers in quarter 4. Now, I could be wrong. I mean, I've not really decided what I'm doing with Shopify in quarter 4. I think I'll just kind of keep it tracking, and obviously it's making me some profit, so that's fine. But I'm not hitting it like, heavy yet. I'm not investing big amounts of money. So yeah, I don't really have any advice beyond that on the Shopify side. So let me just get to a few more questions here. Sheila asks about setting up a Shopify store for niche t-shirts. Let me just answer that one. I am just setting up a Shopify store for my more niche t-shirts. What specific actions should I take first to get them seen by buyers? I know it is through social media. Again, Sheila, I would just recommend going back to that blog post I did about Instagram, which is what has worked for me. Alternatively, I would recommend watching some YouTube vids on Facebook ads and spending a bit of cash on Facebook and trying to see if you can get some response from that. But apart from that, I don't really have much advice apart from I hope you have some kind of niche or social media presence already, and if not, then the way to increase that would be, or my recommended way would be through influencers, relevant influencers who are in your niche already, doing something that you can say, hey, here's my Instagram, or will you post this for me, and see what kind of deals you can do to help drive traffic and eyeballs back to your Instagram account. And right, we are ready to get into the live questions now, so I'm sorry it took me so long. Eileen has a question. Let me tackle that one. I am using the Over app, and sometimes when I upload an image, it's too big when I upload to Dropbox. Do you have any advice as to where I can make an image smaller? It's the file size, not the dimensions. Not sure, Eileen. I mean, I just use Photoshop, and most of my designs are just a few megabytes, I think, in size. Could be wrong there. But the PNG files, I mean, they're not very big. I'm not sure why yours would be so big. If they are just PNG files. So I think if you did a Google for PNG resizer or something like that, or PNG file size reducer, compressor, something like that, I'm sure there'll be some software out there. But I'm not familiar with Over. I'm not sure how they put their PNGs together. So I can't really answer that one, I'm afraid. Brick says, what do you do when someone files an IP violation against you and the person doesn't respond to your emails? Not a lot you can do, Brick. I believe you could file a counter notice with Amazon if you believe you are in the right. But once you do that, the next step would be legal action. So you have to be prepared for that. So I guess your options are you either let it go and forget about it and move on, or you file a counter notice if you are prepared to get into kind of legal wranglings over someone with it. So, yeah, that would be my advice. I think for me personally, if I get a design taken down, I'm just letting it, stay down. I don't get into kind of back and forth protection and that kind of thing. I'm just kind of like, okay, whatever, and that's why volume is so important, because it's not one design that's going to make or break your success in this industry. It's going to be the catalogue of designs that you have. So don't get too hung up on one design. It's probably going to happen. Someone's going to report you, and it's not your fault or whatever. So I would say move on if you can, unless you believe you have a case and you're prepared to kind of take that case to Amazon, or to legal action, which might follow. Because of all that stuff, I think it's probably not worth it, and I would just drop it. So that's me. Excuse me, Maria says, could you tell us how you approach Quilter4 build-up? Do you go step by step in advance, or do you just design in mass and upload in bulk so you have a wide variety of products live for everyone's taste? That's a good question, Maria. I think kind of naturally I do a kind of step-by-step thing. So right now I have some Halloween designs in the works and some Christmas ones. I'm not really uploading them in batches right now, but I think what I will do is when we get kind of into September, I will be doing a search for my designs for Halloween ones and trying to make sure they're all uploaded. And then maybe in October, I'll be doing a search for Christmas designs and making sure they're all uploaded and that there's no problems with the listings. But I'm kind of allowing any design, if it's a Halloween design or a Christmas designs, they are being uploaded now, kind of just as part of my normal upload procedure. And if that's, if they don't make any sales beforehand, then fine. But I think I'll take more of a manual approach as we get closer to Christmas and to Halloween and that kind of thing. Eileen says, with regards to trademarks, I don't understand how some shirts get past the review stage and others don't, because as a beginner, when you are doing your research, it can be very misleading. I think, Eileen, it comes down to Amazon having, what we said about people reporting trademark violations to Amazon. I think maybe if something does get reported to Amazon, that probably goes on their list of things to watch out for. And so that might be why things get flagged and don't get through the review stage. So yeah, it can be misleading, but I think it's just, goes back to what I said before. I don't think Amazon are policing this proactively, but I think they are kind of, they're responding to reports and they're kind of taking things down and then perhaps logging those phrases or trademarks for future violations and stopping things on that point. So, of course, you won't be able to get through a Star Wars design or something like that. Those are the kind of obvious ones that Amazon is going to stop you at the gate, as it were. Jen says, how do you do keyword research? I tried Merch Informer and found it rather confusing and expensive, as I am still in the first tier. Keyword research, basically, I do my process as more like, here comes a design idea. I think I kind of did this before. Here comes a design idea. Let's produce a design. And then let's get the design uploaded. And kind of at the upload stage, when you're going to list it, is where I would typically do some research. So I would go and look on Amazon, and I would go and look on Redbubble, and on maybe some other sites, and just kind of just kind of search the phrase or similar phrases and ideas, and then add any relevant keywords that I find into my listing data. So I don't really start, I don't start with keyword research and let that inform my ideas. That's not really what happens. I start with original ideas, and then I go and find keywords that would support that idea. So, I mean, that's kind of a different way of doing it than looking for what designs are selling and then trying to recreate those. I'm not saying I don't do that, but there's different strategies for merch. And this is the one that kind of takes up most of my time, is coming up with original ideas and then trying to get them ranked and trying to meet those audiences which I think are out there, even if I don't have, 100% evidence that they are, because they might not be selling right away. So hope that makes sense. Scott asks, nice to have you here, Scott. Scott says, have you ever outsourced design creation? If so, how did you find and vet them? And how did you give them design requests? I did, and I created a video about this, so let me just post that in here. My channel. So all my videos are unlisted right now. I'm just keeping these private for group members. So I have a video here about finding a cheap designer with 99 designs. That's one way. So I'll post that link in the comments. And that's just one way I found designers. I have found some of my designers that way. Yes, I am outsourcing. I started outsourcing at the start of this year, and I give them design requests through a Google spreadsheet, which is basically allows me to track all my designs that I commission, and I give them basically a link to some reference images, and I give them a brief description, and I track it that way. So I have 4 or 5 designers, I think, right now who I'm working with, and I track them with a Google spreadsheet. However, I've just recently started trying out these guys, Airtable. It is a paid service, but I think they have a 14-day free trial or something. And if you... Basically, it's kind of like a spreadsheet database management system. I checked them out a few months ago, but never actually tried it. And I've just tried it today, and I'm actually really surprised and impressed at the advanced features it has. And I think I'm going to switch my whole Google spreadsheet system over to this, because the way it allows you to manage different tables and stuff. So basically, let me just kind of give you an overview of my system. It's something like this. So I have a spreadsheet that manages the designs, so the commissioning of designs, and then I have a spreadsheet that manages the actual listing process and listing them on different websites. So obviously these two designs are linked up in Google's Sheets, and that allows me to kind of see what's happening and where we're at. And but Google Sheets does have some limited things, like it doesn't really have an easy way to view images, so viewing designs is hard. And so what I think I'm going to do is move this whole thing over to Airtable and try it that way. So if you want to check them out, I do have a link. I'll put a link in the notes here, in the comment section. It is an affiliate link, so I think I get a credit if you sign up through that link. But I think that's a great... it looks to me, I've only been playing with it today, but it looks like a great way to manage everything. Kind of really easy to use. You get the spreadsheet view, but you can also you can put images in there, so you can view things like a gallery. And I think it's going to be a really good option. The pricing is quite reasonable as well. If you're just a one-man band, I think $10 a month is pretty reasonable. I haven't signed up and paid yet. I'm just on the free trial right now. I think it's a 14-day free trial or something. But I would, if you're looking for a way to manage things, I think, and you're doing things in a Google spreadsheet type of format right now, that could be a great alternative and a relatively cheap one as well, especially when it comes to... So, for example, I think what I can do with Airtable, you can create a custom form. I know you can do this in Google Sheets as well, but you can create a custom form. So what I think I'll do is I'll have a form that I send to my designers, and instead of having them email me back designs, which is how things are currently happening, what they'll do is go to this form and simply upload the designs, and those designs will then automatically feed into the sheet, and I can have a really quick, easy way to view the designs as they come back. So, as the designs are created, they'll pop up in the sheet, and I can see them straight away, and that's a good place to kind of store the designs and export them from there or whatever. So anyway, I'm just kind of thinking out loud, but I think this Airtable thing is going to be a great way to manage my designs and my process going forward. But I will have more to say about that in a short time, not in this episode, but I have some stuff coming up on that, which I'll say just before I finish. So I think we've done an hour now, over an hour. So I'm going to have to wrap this up. So I'll just race through a couple of these last questions that I can see before me. Chris says, Michael, I just wanted to let everyone know I ran a little test on my volleyball team shirts. My wife and I are the only ones that air dry them. Everyone else's are significantly faded after about 8 washes and dries. Ours look brand new, theirs look old. Michael, anything to add to this? Think air drying for longer life or something like that is worth mentioning in the listing. Could be, Chris. To be honest, I stay away from really any of that kind of stuff. Anything that says, I know people say things like order a size larger for order a size larger for a looser fit and those kind of things. I don't really include any reference to the t-shirt itself in my listing. I just describe the design because I see the nature of the t-shirt and the fabric and all that stuff as Amazon's responsibility. Because remember here, we're licensing the artwork. That's all we're doing. We're not selling the t-shirt. Amazon is doing that. And so I try and keep my focus on the artwork. So look, saying that is not going to hurt. Is it going to help? Could do. I think, to be honest, I think people are going to air dry their people who air dry their shirts are going to continue to air dry them. People who don't are going to throw them in the wash anyway. They're probably not going to pay attention to your sentence on the sales page. And so I don't think it could make a huge difference. But if, by all means, try it out and let us know how that goes, Chris. I don't see it making a huge difference myself. Karen says, do you use Sunfrog? I have used them, Karen. I don't recommend it. Next to no organic stuff from Sunfrog for me, so I've stopped adding designs on there. Kathleen says, should I make several different brands for each niche on Etsy, or is that a bad idea? Kathleen, it's a good idea. The only problem is, can you manage several different niches on Etsy, several different accounts? And is it going to get confusing? Is it going to be hard work? And also, are you able to be successful and create quality designs and create a quality experience for your customers across several different stores? I think it's quite a big ask. I'm not saying it can't be done, but I think there's, it's hard enough making a success of one store. Doing multiple ones could just be hard work. But if you're up to the challenge, I think there's a lot to be said for having dedicated niches, because there's so much more potential there to remarket to customers and to kind of develop a brand. But having said that's a lot of work as well in itself. So again, kind of review all of that and take it, as part of your wider strategy. Kind of think how it fits into your strategy. Dixon says, as you tier up, you need to learn design, as costs of designers will exceed initial profits. That's probably true. It certainly can be an advantage if you're a designer in the first place. That's why I was able to tier up so fast and to have such great success with merch from the get-go. Scott has one last question, I think, before we wrap this up here. Scott says, have you checked out any project management software? I'm going to be using ClickUp, which I think is going to be perfect. Haven't heard of that, Scott, and haven't used them, but I will check them out. If you could post a link in the comments, that would be great, so I can take a look at that later. And I think I'll just give one last refresh and check I've not missed any questions here. But thank you guys. We've been live for over an hour. And as you can imagine, I need a break. So I think I'll quit. I'll quit it there. There seems to be no more questions pouring in. So thank you for joining me. Is there any notices I need to give? I think I mentioned last week about... I know I keep dropping hints about this, but I do have a course. And I have a vague plan. Not a vague plan. I have quite a formulated plan in mind as to what's going to happen. So I think very shortly I'm going to be able to make an announcement about my course and how I'm going to run it. And basically I'm going to do Facebook Live sessions over a period of weeks and teach a certain topic each time. And so it'll be like a seminar type of thing. So I will have slides and I'll do kind of examples live and that kind of thing. It will be a paid product. And then at the end, you will get this course, which will be like a full package course. I think I mentioned last week that basically, I think I've taken every Merch by Amazon course, every print-on-demand course that's out there, and I think there's a need for a real deep dive, something that covers everything, and that's what I want to produce. And obviously, it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of editing and a lot of writing to come up with the content and to teach it in an effective way. But once I've taught all these lessons, then that will form the basis of the course. And I will have some more to say about it next week. I'll just kind of teasing it right now. But if you're interested in that, watch this space. You guys are in the group. It's going to be something that launches exclusively to the group. It's not going to go out to my wider email list. You guys have all purchased from me in the past, so you're going to get a special, you're going to be the only ones who can actually sign up for this, and there will be a discount because what you'll be signing up for is to join another private group where I'll teach all this stuff kind of on a weekly basis, and of course you'll get the final product once it's all completed and put together, and it will be kind of drip fed out in that fashion. So if you're interested in that, just kind of let me know. What I imagine it will cover, Kate says, theme of course, design selling. Basically, Kate, I want it to cover everything from basically to show people what I did. So how did I go from making $100 a month to making $10,000 a month, and all the kinds of ins and outs. So it will mainly focus on print on demand, and after that, I will cover a little bit of Shopify and those kind of things. The main focus will be, and I think I asked a question in the group a few weeks ago, was what are people struggling with? And I think the top two things were like niche selection and keywords and strategy. And I think those are two of the big areas that people need help with. I think I can especially help people with the strategy side because I'm coming up with or I've kind of had a strategy from the start to grow this business. Merch by Amazon has really just been the vehicle that's helped me get to where I am. But the strategy was there before Merch came along. Merch by Amazon has really kind of ramped up and allowed me to get, obviously to a huge amount of sales in a relatively short space of time. But the strategy is what's kind of, the most important thing. And so that's kind of what I want to teach as a foundation. So that will maybe be the first, couple of topics that we cover. And then we'll get into kind of niche selection and, all the different kind of ways you can make money within merch and within print on demand as a wider topic. And I will go into real detail. I'll show, my process. I'll do at least a couple of like live examples of me searching for designs and ideas and narrowing them down and showing the whole back end. So it'll basically be everything you need to go from zero to, I don't know, how it worked for me and how we did it. So it's not going to be a cheap course by any means. It's not going to be like one of these $10, $20 things. It's going to be an expensive investment, and I know it's not going to be for everyone. It's going to be for those who want to go deep and who seriously want to make a serious long-term business out of this, because I'm not in it for the quick bucks. There is quick bucks to be made right now with merch, there's lots of people crowding the market. There's lots of people offering services. I think the real money is in the broader strategy of creating designs that you license to people, and merch is part of that. But I think there's a bigger market out there for people who are, especially if you're a quality designer or you have especially good skills in spotting trends and those kind of things. That's what I think, and that's where I think the money is to be made in the future. So I want to do a course that covers that, the real broad stuff, to help people make a full-time living off of this, sustainably as well, not just in the short term, not just making, $100 here, $100 there, and having to hop on a new trend every week, but to do the whole thing. So that's the kind of scope that I'm thinking about. So as you can imagine, it's going to be a big topic. But right now, I don't have, I don't have anywhere for you to sign up. I've not created anything yet, apart from the initial outline of the course. So bear with me. You guys are going to be the first to hear about it. Don't worry about that. And once I do launch it, I'll make sure that you don't miss it. There will be kind of an initial, period where you can sign up, and a kind of cutoff point where after a certain number of weeks, you can't sign up anymore, because then it will be kind of, you have to buy the full product. But you guys will hear about it before anyone else, so don't worry about that. Thank you for bearing with me today on this. You can probably hear my voice is going. So I'm going to leave it there, and I'll catch up with you guys next week. If you have any questions for me, you can comment below, and I'll try and get back to you. I think I'm running a little bit behind on email replies, so if you have any questions, you can post them below. And thank you for joining me. Thank you for asking your questions. I hope this has been useful for you guys. And if you want to do one thing for me today, one thing you could do, which would be great, is if you could go to my Facebook page. So not here in the group, but if you go to facebook.com/Mike Essick, if you could just go and leave a review on my page, that would be great. I know a lot of you have already done that, and it's fantastic. It would just be great to get some of your comments from real people. And if you could just leave a review there, just tell me, don't tell me, but just say, hey, Michael Essick, thanks for helping me out with t-shirts or whatever. That would be great, just to get my reviews up on my page there. That would be a great thank you for me holding this one today. So thank you for your time, and I will catch up with you guys very soon. So keep on pumping out those designs, and I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.